How you doing, Professor S? My name is Dorian Austin McNeil. Come on, bro. We have to introduce ourselves.
Okay. Hey, Professor. My name is Ryan Blackman.
And today we have chosen to do a mini
YouTube video.
And of course we had a list of options and we had thoroughly looked through them and chose deforestation as one of our topics. See, what we learned about it in class is basically how, you know, companies strip the land up from different environments, different biohazards for industrial use and urban use. And in my opinion, deforestation basically means to build on what's already inhabited land by other species and taking away the actual land as far as land, trees, bushes, wherever it may be, the actual land itself, flatten out the land, whatever they may do to
for whatever projects they may have to work on.
Correct. And but the actual definition of deforestation is the action of clearing a wide area of trees for industrial use or any urban use. So that's the definition. That's the actual definition that we came across during our research of this topic. And basically what I dove in and realized that, you know, different companies and different people of power use deforestation for profitable use. But deforestation is actually more common in the rainforest areas for actual lumber and wood consumption, as well as an economic use of trade. They use, I guess the rainforest is the home of the actual most popular wood to use for, whether it be for fire, pencils, tables, furniture, stuff like that. So that's where deforestation is actually most famously found, is in the rainforest. And as I look further through, deforestation actually occurs here in the United States very often for reasons such as, you know, industrial reason may be building new buildings, infrastructure, schools, libraries, parks. In the urban area, they use deforestation for homes, parking lots, anything that they can use a platform of land for to build a business to create and revenue profit. Now, deforestation also happens in rural areas where farmers use it for, you know, farms, cattle, or whether they have like a crop, whatever they may use that farmland for. But basically they're stripping out the trees from that land. The process of deforestation is stripping out the tree from the land. They mark out how big and how vast the area of land they may be. So whether it's 16 acres or 1,000 acres, they clear it with the trees. They chop the tree down first. They clear the land with these machineries and heavy artillery to lift up the stumps and roots from the land, smoothing out the land like the dirt. They smooth out the dirt, and then, and then they use these other machines to put down cement, whether they need it for a lot again or any build or infrastructure. Now, another big definite deforestation thing that we see on our day-to-day basis are the roads. Now, when they use the roads is a clear indication of a piece of man-made structure that is literally splitting two habitats in half. So they have roads. If you pay attention next time you drive on the highway, the roads are literally in between. You know, we see trees on the highway mainly, and that is actually disrupting animals or whatever species that stays there, its habitat originally. And the deforestation of that is very widespread. Roads are everywhere from the east to the west coast, on any region, any continent. Deforestation is definitely used in a road, and that is on a daily basis. That's actually the second most common form of deforestation, is road structure.
Yeah, and like a lot of things with the roads are like, you see it commonly nowadays with like people driving on the highway and like, for instance, like animals like deer. Deer is a really common animal that gets hit by cars or other passing vehicles that pass by or whatever. And that's basically because when you interrupt an animal's natural habitat, that forces the animal to just leave and try to find a place to replace that habitat that it once was in. So you see a lot of deers getting hit, And then another thing was like, so depending on where the deforestation is taking place, you can see like in forests, big one I think they said was orangutans. And orangutans, you know, do a lot of, they live in the trees, and they use a lot of trees to protect themselves, and you know, that's their home. And then one other thing that we found was like the birds. The birds is a big thing, like orangutans, because that's where they live, and that's where they grow and they raise their babies. Whenever you see the nest in the trees and everything, that's where their kids are raised. So when you cut down these trees and you cut down just to make new habitat for humans, it's taking the lives away from animals. And actually, so to piggyback off that, an animal that we really researched and saw that was really getting affected was an owl. And I think it was if I look here, it was the northern spotted owl in the western United States, and it actually cannot survive without the old growth forest, and it's 100% dependent on that forest. So when you cut down certain forests in certain places, although we might not think of an owl on an everyday basis because it's just not an animal that we encounter every day and everything, it's still getting affected by it. And then that just messes up the whole food chain. So whatever may feed off that owl, or whatever the owl is eating that helps regulate that population, also gets hurt by that.
So yeah, as far as deforestation with these animals, they had, like my brother said, they tend to have to migrate. They're forced to migrate into habitats that they, again, have to get used to and have to accommodate for, use whatever natural resources they can find in their new habitat. And again, that's why we see a lot of dead animals on the side of the road. And it's not because they're just blindly running through the streets, but that where that road is was probably a path that they used to use when they lived there. You know, that's their home. So it's like, for instance, if somebody literally laid a road or something between your house, splitting your house, how you would walk up the stairs is how they would walk across the road. Like they don't know the difference. That may be their first time encountering the new structure since the last time they actually implanted on that land. So again, deforestation is it's a major problem. We're actually harming the environment, harming the habitats. Different predators and different preys have to interact with other predators and other preys, causing a reaction in the environment with these animals and how they interact with each other, the roles that each animal plays. And it's just a lightly taken topic that is very heavily impacting on the environment.
And to piggyback off of what he said is it's a problem that we don't look at as a society. We don't take it as a big problem because it's animals and it's not really affecting us. That's what we think. But deforestation, that's anywhere. So any trees, and that's oxygen. That's how humans live and how humans survive. So humans will not actually feel the impact of it until the problem is way too big and it's out of control. So we need to start finding ways to slow down the process, because you won't stop it. It's not gonna stop. They're just not gonna start cutting down any more trees. It's always gonna happen. And so we have to figure out ways as a society to prevent the mass deforestation from happening and everything. And like we came up with like a list of different routes you can take. And I know some were like to plant a tree, or to go paperless and just trying to find other supplements to things that we use every day. Because after a while you start figuring out everything that you use in your everyday lives that come from trees, like my brother said earlier, tables and paper and pencils and our everyday uses. We're not thinking that when we just throw stuff away, it's just going away for good. We don't have to worry about it anymore. But there's other things that contribute to us instead of just the regular wood that we use.
Also, another thing to piggyback off my brother said, there's another way we can do it, is to actually go and communicate and actually get familiar with the Look for Forest Stewardship Council called the FSC, which actually helps accommodates against deforestation and to actually provide different alternatives instead of for harming the environment. For example, they would allow, let's say we wanted to actually cultivate this piece of land, but we had to move the trees, remove any land fields, anything, fill the land with cement, all that basic deforestation. however many acres that land is, we go take that same piece of land where it's not inhabited and actually plant amount of seeds and amount of plants and flowers and make riverways so that they have a water source and actually build another environment that's naturally made. You know what I'm saying? Like a green environment. That's another way. And again, these are alternatives to actually help deforestation, because you can't initially stop deforestation, especially with human and society moving towards a more urban society, a more urban way of living, and it's very growing industry. And to close it out, our basic thoughts about deforestation is that it can definitely be managed. It can definitely lighten up, because we also do have to take consideration of the animals, because we do share this planet, and we all play a role on this planet, and we just have to work as a team, work as one species to help each other out and not be so selfish as far as deforestation goes.
And yes, and like to close it out on my part, like I said earlier, like we need to really start thinking about how it affects us as a species, the human population, and everything that goes on, because as we cut down trees, we're not factoring in the other natural disasters that happen throughout the year that might destroy trees, like the forest fires and everything of that nature that also come into play. And you never know, it might come to a point where somebody might have needed that forest to help them in some type of way, and sooner or later there will be none to help us get through whatever we might need to get through. So like I said, just take in consideration, and I feel like it's a problem that a lot of people might look over, but definitely need to look into.
So that's it. Again, I am Dorian. This is my brother Ryan. We just thank you so much for allowing us to be able to show our research and show our awareness of deforestation through video form. And
thank you so much.
Hope you like it.